My name's Alana Horgan. I'm known as Lana to my friends and Ford Rocket to my online friends. I'm 28 years old and I'm a geek. I came in the top 15 in the IONET Australian-wide Top Geek competition. I came 8th by the public vote, which was pretty awesome. And I just have a whole range of geeky interests and hobbies and skills. I really enjoy university and I'm currently on a HD average. I have a billion nerd shirts, and I like to exaggerate. And I just have a lot of hobbies from cosplay to reading, writing, computer games, board games, D&D, you name it. I enjoy all those sorts of things, and like every geek should, I have a plan for the zombie apocalypse. I graduated from Kadina High School in the year 2000. I got 94.9 on my UAI on the higher school certificate, and I ended up being awarded the Rotary Award for Commitment, the Katie Lang Memorial Art Prize, and the Kadina Senior Writing Award. I won a full scholarship to Southern Cross University, where I majored in English and communications, and I did a minor in political science. I ended up with a distinction average, and I had several of my writing pieces used as an example for later students. In the past few years I've been studying at UQ, really just for the entertainment value of it, because I was doing admin work, which wasn't very exciting at the time. Currently on a high distinction average, and I have been doing classes from the major in the philosophy of science. I run my own business called Spork Puppy Designs. It's named after my dog Sativa, who's also on the logo, as you can see. I make hats, such as these little top hats you can see here. I buy the little hats and then I decorate them. I also make these little lace wrist cuffs and these bigger foamy ones. I have all sorts of different pendants and designs of things I can put on them. And I've also made this Poker Walker wrist cuff, which is for a computer game, well, a DS game, and it was featured on Kotaku, which was really cool. I had a stall at Supernova this year, and I actually almost sold out of all my products, which was awesome. Aside from my home business, I also run a website called Shades of Sentience. I've got a team of writers from around the world, and we basically write about whatever geeky topics interest us. I tend to cover Predator cosplay, time travel, determinism, artificial intelligence, anything that I find to be particularly challenging and a bit unusual. We run an annual short story competition that's designed to promote emerging writers, and this year the theme is cyberpunk versus steampunk, and we plan to publish an anthology from the winners and more outstanding stories. The website gets on average 13,000 unique visitors a month, and just as an example, my first Predator article has over 10,000 unique views, which is really awesome. Education would count as one of my first interests because I really enjoy it and I tend to do it for recreation. I read probably more non-fiction than I do fiction, and my particular interests would be in theoretical physics, particularly string theory, because I find it really interesting that some scientists have actually said that the universe is like a living harmony of the spheres. I'm also really interested in neuroplasticity, which is basically where the brain can be programmed like a robot, so we can basically train our brain to be what we want it to be, which I think is really cool. And I'm also really into time travel. Time travel I find particularly interesting because of the challenges of explaining the paradoxes that are inherent in it. Time travel itself is physically possible, it's really only the paradoxes that are causing people to question whether or not it could ever actually happen. Out of all of my interests, writing is my greatest passion and the thing that I really, really want to do for a living one day. I would love to become a published author. As you can see, I'm dressed as a dark elf, which is a D&D creature, and probably the most writing I've done has been in my D&D campaign setting. A campaign setting is basically where you create an entire world and adventures for people in that world to play through. So I created gods, monsters, characters, races, everything. This is the original booklet that I created several years ago, but since then I've written hundreds of pages of adventures that I am currently in the process of writing up into a campaign setting. That means that other dungeon masters, the people who take players through the adventures, will be able to take their players through my campaign world. And when I finish writing it up into a campaign setting, one day I'm going to turn it into a series of novels. But in the meantime, I'm almost finished the novel I'm currently working on, which is at about 80,000 words at the moment, and I will finish it sometime in the next few months, which is very exciting because that'll be the first book I have ever finished. Cosplay is basically where you dress up in a costume of a character from a TV show, a movie, a game, or any other fictional character. At the moment I'm dressed as Phoenix from X-Men. I wore this costume to Supernova this year, and I've already got 3 other costumes planned for Supernova at the end of the year. In the past I've cosplayed as characters such as Gaz from Invader Zim, Kylena from The Prince of Persia, a girl version of Devil Jin, even a zombie for the 2010 Brisbane Zombie Walk. This is my biggest project to date, my Predator project. I actually have all of the parts now, which is really awesome. I just need to paint them. Cosplay is really fun, not just because you get to make the costumes, but because you get to walk around in the shoes of another character for a day. You can get really into it and act like the character if you really feel like it, and the reactions of people at conventions are usually really great. When it comes to my range of geeky interests, the list is a fairly long one. I'm into computer games like TF2, Left 4 Dead 2, Pokemon. I like board games, particularly Robo Rally, Talisman. Settlers of Catan is one of my favourites. I like to read books, and I try to avoid fiction if I've got important things to do, because once I start reading I probably won't stop. I read lots of non-fiction as well. I play bass guitar. I just bought a new 5-string LTD, which is really awesome. At the end of last year I got out of the longest and only serious relationship I've ever been in. I've been single ever since then, and I'm really enjoying it because I basically have the freedom to do whatever I want. Socially I'm really 50-50. Sometimes I can be great and sometimes I can be quite awkward, and sometimes I can be a little bit weird, but that's okay because I kind of enjoy that. However, one of the reasons I'd really like to be on the show is because I'd like to learn to be more confident in a wider variety of situations. I think the house would be a really fun place to be. I'd be surrounded by the sorts of people I'd never normally hang out with, not because I don't like them, just because I've never really understood them and they've never really understood me. We just have so little in common, but I think it would be a really valuable learning experience. I think something that I'd really enjoy teaching the beauties, both male and female, would be how to find something that brings out their inner creativity. There's nothing more rewarding than having created something, and I think because I've got such a wide variety of just random crafty skills, art, drawing, music, I think whatever the beauties would be interested in, there'd be at least a chance I'd be able to help them express and create something. And I think probably the most important thing the beauties could teach me would be patience. That might sound bad, but all I really mean by that is that I'm just not used to hanging out with people who are so different from me, and I think it would be a really valuable learning experience, as well as a really fun thing to do, to hang out with the sorts of people and get to know the kinds of people who I never really have anything to do with. That's all from me, so thank you for considering me for an audition.